Hey guys, I'm back. Welcome to Q&A with DocP, volume number 3. Yeah, I like to get these things out on the first of the month, but there's just a lot going on. Look, I'm wearing a hat. You know why? Because I want to be just like Video Addict when I grow up. Actually, I saw a video. That's not a cut at Video Addict. I actually really like his videos. I think his videos are pretty funny. And he always wears a hat in his videos. And I saw him once without a hat, and it blew my mind. Mind blown. But you guys said I looked okay in this hat. I normally don't like hats, and right now I feel like a damn dirty hippie because I haven't had a haircut in over a month, which is unheard of in my life. But you know, so goes the not being in the military anymore. I need to get a haircut, but I don't know. I'm gonna get one. Anyway, we've got a good assortment of questions. This is the first time I've done this inside, although it's only the third time, so I can't really say the first time. But late at night, not sleeping, lots going on. I figured great time to get in front of the camera and go ahead and knock out some of these questions. And I've skimmed a few, like in the message preview on the email. I haven't read any of them all the way through. So I like to read them for the first time all the way through in front of the camera. So if some of them are kind of funny, you get a natural reaction. But I'm kind of going through them at the same time you guys are. So I was worried that we weren't going to have like a whole video's worth of questions, but I realized, yeah, you guys are awesome, as always. So we do. So let's start. And there's a couple left over that I couldn't put in last month just because it was getting a little bit long. So we're going to start with those. So the first one is, are you ready? Have you ever considered, and I'm reading from my computer by the way, which is why I'm looking over here. Have you ever considered making DocP 91B channel morale patches? Also, have you ever considered doing a video on the K-Bar dozer? It's an interesting looking little blade for $20. Love the Q&A videos, Doc. Thank you. Number one, so the patches, yes. I have looked into that because I'm narcissistic and everybody should want my patch. Now I've looked into it because military wearing patches all the time. Every deployment gets a patch that, you know, it's cool because you only get that patch. You wear it, you know, on that deployment, you know, as part of the crew, and it's like saying you were there. And I know people do like those kind of cool morale patches and everything. As part of my Patreon thing, like if you sign up with Patreon, you're supposed to get a free morale patch. You're actually supposed to get 2. So the first company I was working with sent me a cool picture of a design and then never made the patches, like I never heard from them again. The second company sent me a proof of the design and then a whole big delay on why I don't have the patches, but I have those patches in the works. So yes, I have some coming, 2 different ones. Like one that's DocP 91B and one that's like the Troll Busters. And hopefully I'll have them soon, and then, you know, we'll actually see what they look like. As for the K-Bar dozer, no, I haven't, but now it's on my list. So there you go. See how simple that is? Yay! So I'll remember to put that on my brand new spreadsheet. I think I put this in the end of a video, but I'll say this now. So I had a spreadsheet with all my kind of video requests and stuff. And the whole file got jacked up, corrupted, hacked. It was the Russians. They tried to hack the election by corrupting my spreadsheet. I don't know what happened. But so, if you have a video request or an idea or something you'd like to see, send that to docp96@gmail.com and just make the subject like video request or video idea or something like that. And that way I can start rebuilding that that video viewer request spreadsheet and get that going. Thanks. Next question. Have you finished that bottle of Jack Daniels yet? Thanks,
No.
Paul. No, we have
No.
not. We had the sips that you saw on camera, and we are waiting for the next life-altering event to have more of that because we're never going to be able to afford to buy another bottle of that. We're never going to find another bottle. I guess we'll find it, but no. So we still have that really impressive bottle of Jack Daniels. I think at a certain level, we really enjoy being able to say we have that bottle of Jack Daniels more than we enjoy drinking that bottle of Jack Daniels. There's a lot going on here, personal-wise and stuff, so we'll probably jump into that bottle a little bit more as, you know, as we get settled here in Pennsylvania and move on and stuff like that. But good question. I'd like to finish that bottle, but no, we have not. Next question. It's 2-parter. Number 1, how many knives do you take with you during a deployment? And number 2, what guns do you own in your personal collection? All right, so the guns is easy. So I have put out another video that I had a pretty good gun collection, and then I had an ex-wife, and now I don't have a pretty good gun collection. Sad story. Right now, grand total of 2. I have a Bushmaster AR-15 type model, and I have... Sorry, I spaced out. I totally spaced out. And I have a Springfield 40 caliber XD. Those are the only 2 firearms I own. That's it. And do you really... I mean, it'd be nice to have a big collection, but I just... priorities shifted, and I never really rebuilt my collection. I had a really awesome collection. I was really happy with it, but that's it. So, on to the knives. How many knives do you take with you during a deployment? See, there's a big difference between take with me and then collect on. So take with me on a deployment, I'll walk out the door with 1 or 2, and that's it. Usually 1 fixed blade, and typically it's just the standard old U.S. Army Air Force survival knife, because they keep issuing it to me, and it's a rugged, sturdy, dependable little knife. It's really cool. And then I'll usually take 1 folder. If they issue me one, I'll take it, unless I just don't like it. This cool guy, the Benchmade 810, didn't come out until... I'm trying to visualize the actual tent I was in for that deployment, so I know what country I was in, and I'm pretty sure it was my last Afghanistan, which would have been 2012, which would have been my last combat deployment. So, it would not have been this, but this is, like, ever since then, my favorite field exercise knife. This has gone with me. I just really like the feel of it and everything. But yeah, just, I walk out the door with 1 or 2, and then, you know, while I'm there, I end up collecting a zillion D, billion D, as I get bored or whatevs. So, you gotta be very careful the way you word that question, though. You play lawyer games, right? But I hope that answers the question. The title of this one is, very important question. Can I be the douche canoe in this video, please? And in your opinion, who would win in a fight, a blind lion or a 3-legged grizzly bear? I said I would answer any question. I did say I would answer any question. Also, can you just say my first name only? By the way, I think your channel is awesome, and I might send you a knife box to see you get mad again. LOL. That video was priceless. So, Josh, using your first name, like you asked, can you be the douche canoe in this video? Sure. Even thinking about sending me a knife box makes my blood pressure go up. You are now the douche canoe of this video. Congratulations, Josh, douche canoe. Who would win, though? A blind lion or a 3-legged grizzly bear? I have to believe that blind lion, because I've seen movies like the Book of Eli, right? Now, sorry, spoiler alert, if you pay attention to the movie, you might have figured it out before the end, but if you watched it all the way through, he's blind the whole time, and he kicks all kinds of ass. So I think the blind lion probably could get into a gunfight with a bunch of people and win the gunfight because he's blind, but he uses all his other senses. So the blind lion probably knows how to win a gunfight and then use ninja skills to kick the ass of the 3-legged grizzly bear, who does not have ninja skills, and that's where, yeah, that's my official statement, and I'm going with it.
I vote blind lion.
Blind lion.
Blind lion. 2 votes for blind lion.
Especially if it's like a Voltron blind lion. You didn't put any parameters on it, Josh. You just said blind lion. How do I know this could be like a majestic, magical blind lion? This could be a blind lion on speed. This could be a blind lion who just took steroids. I don't know. But I'm going with blind lion. Blind lion wins. Greetings. What do you think about the Milwaukee Knives that Home Depot sells? I have the Fastback Hawkbill, and it's pretty awesome. By the way, what category would be that knife? Well, you know, to be honest, I've never tried it out, so I couldn't give you a good, honest answer, and I don't want to just make a judgment call or an assumption without actually having tried it out. So I don't know. So guess what? This is going on my magic spreadsheet, because now I've actually got to do a review on it. So check back in the future when I get my hands on one of them, and we'll actually check it out, and we'll see where it fits in and what category. And I'm assuming you mean like high-end, low-end, or you know, something like that, and what I think about it. So we will find out all about that knife. This looks like, okay, so here's the next one. Hello, first off, I apologize for the name. A while back I was in a hurry and had to make a Gmail, and this is the first thing that came to mind. Well, I'm not telling you his name anyway, so it doesn't matter. So here's the question, why the hate for Karambits? I understand you feel there are no uses other than combat, which I feel is wrong, as you can use for opening boxes and such if not held in a reverse grip. Even if this does not end up in the Q&A, and you simply respond through email, thank you for your time, and it's not a big deal. If you put it in the Q&A, as you can have other questions from other people, thank you and have a nice day. So, of course, I promised you guys, any question you ask, I'm going to answer. So number one, it's not hate for Karambits, it's just I don't like them, that's all. And you're right, you can use them for opening boxes and stuff, but I like a knife that is an all-around, what I consider, and this is all personal preference, right? So remember, just because I say I don't like something doesn't mean it's 100% valid. Now, if I say, you know, for example, M390 is a stainless steel and M4 is a carbon steel, that's a fact, right? That's not my opinion, that's just me stating a fact. But if I say, like a Karambit is less useful than a reverse Tanto, that's just my opinion. So you guys don't have to buy into it, and it doesn't make it so. So it's just my personal preference. I don't find it as useful as other blades. But when it comes to just basic cutting kinds of stuff, like, you know, out in the woods or working around the house where you might use it from the kitchen to the living room to the backyard, I don't personally find it to be as useful a blade as some other blade shapes. That's all there is to it. It's not hate. It's not me thumbing my nose at the blade or people that like it. It's just, it's not my style. That's all. You know, some people say cucumber stays better pickled. Whatever. Okay, moving on. You once said once or twice that you're not really a gamer, but you play Fallout, and that's a cool game. That is a cool game. Oh, see, I didn't even mean it. Fault Boy. I wasn't even trying to do that. What other games, if any games, do you play, and do you ever play, and do you play online? Okay. I'm not a big gamer. I play Fallout because I like Fallout because I can't wait for the end of the world. And when it happens, I want to crawl out of a vault and I want to kill people. There are a couple other games that I play regularly, semi-regularly. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan because it's not. I've seen what a real war looks like, and that's not it. It's not it. I like the old school Call of Duties. I like the original Call of Duty. When it was like, and so once upon a time, and I'm talking like Iraq 2006. So our unit was split up. We had operations and we had maintenance. And when you were not working, like actively working, and you were like off, you would go to the MOC, the Maintenance Operations Center, or you go to the Ops Shack where we kind of hung out and waited to be fragged out, like, hey, go do this. And there was just an internal LAN network on our compound. And I still say, if they ever gave it awards for the longest continuous Call of Duty game, we would have won. And there was a never-ending Call of Duty game. And you would sit down in front of a computer, and it was ops versus maintenance. But it was like that original Call of Duty game. Americans versus Germans, and I like that. I like playing campaigns more than I like playing multiplayer. I like having objectives, and I like going through the objectives, and I like accomplishing a mission more than I just like running around in circles shooting people with like no actual end in sight. Now, I know there are multiplayer games, I get it, where like as a team you've got to go and like accomplish a mission, but what I don't like dealing with are idiots who decide that they are somehow, you know, mythic godly warriors because they can do this really well. Because guess what? I do this really well. So anyway, I just pissed a bunch of people off probably. But I'm getting whatever. So I do like some Call of Duty games, but I like playing campaigns, you know, by myself on the game. I don't like playing multiplayer that much. Plus, in Florida where we were, our internet sucked so bad. So, you know, you have not seen lag. Like, forget it. Alien Isolation I really liked because it was a whole different kind of game. Because it was more of like trying to sort of outsmart things and hide and build. And I like those kinds of games. Not into Minecraft, for anybody asks. I've never even tried it. Not a Warcraft player. Nothing against it. It's just not my thing. I've never played Skyrim. It seems way too complicated for me. Fallout is as complicated an open world game as I want to handle. I just got Star Wars Battlefront 2. I really like Battlefront 2 because you've got your campaign, and then I do play multiplayer. I don't like the ground assault as much as I like the playing fighter planes because, once again, you know, that was my life, was running out in the field with a rifle. But I like flying spaceships because that's not something I do for real. So that's fun. And I'm much better at flying spaceships on a video game than I am running around, you know, as a stormtrooper. I suck as a stormtrooper, but I'm not bad flying spaceships. But there's not a lot of games that, you know, I really do play, honestly. I just, I can't stay into it. But I like games where you have to solve puzzles and stuff, and I like games where there's more thinking than button mashing. So, I'm sorry, that was an entirely too long answer to this question, but there is the answer to that question. Next question. This is not really a knife or survival question, but you said we could ask anything, so I hope this is okay. I was wondering if you did any other hobbies or stuff and what they are. Your vids are awesome, and I'm a huge fan. It would be really awesome to hear you answer this, so I hope you do. Your fan, Kev G. Kev G. Yes, I do other hobbies. I do. Most of them are geeky. right behind me, right here. You want to talk about geek level? You guys ever heard of Warhammer 40K? I play Warhammer 40K. I love building models. I've always loved building models since I was a kid. I really love the attention to detail and stuff like that. And spending my whole life in the military, I get right up close to tanks and airplanes and guns and things like that. So it's let me really put a lot of detail into building things like tanks and airplanes and guns and stuff like that, because I know what they look like out in the field and like where they wear and stuff like that. And Warhammer is just a fun game. Me and Aiden can build an army together, and then we can play armies against each other or against other folks. So it's an expensive damn hobby, though. These models are ridiculous. So here's one of my Bane blades that I was working on recently, and I actually have this guy. You know, I love building models and detailing them out. I don't know if the light's coming out really good on this video right now, but these guys look badass. Painting and detailing and stuff. And I got this guy I'm working on. I just like that you can make them your own, you know, invent your own backstory for your army. I play guitar badly, very badly, but I have a Stratocaster Players Deluxe that sits in a closet and has not come out of the closet in several years, so I'm sure I sound like I'm strangling a dead cat if I were to pick that thing up today, but I used to play often, especially while deployed. I'd bring it with me and be like a stress relief. I like shooting. I like making fun of people's grammar on Knifebox videos.
Oh, yes.
That's fun. That's fun for me. Common misconception is that on Knifebox videos that I'm angry at anybody that comments anything on there. I laugh my ass off when I read those comments and I'm commenting back. Like, I think it's hilarious when I'm doing that. I'm not angry at all at that.
Crushing souls.
I like crushing souls. I loved crushing souls of stupid airmen and soldiers back when I was in. That's really it. I don't have a whole lot of hobbies. The ones I have are pretty time consuming, so when I'm not doing them, I'm usually just sitting around. Movies are a huge, I love movies. I love watching movies and criticizing movies, but no, not criticizing them. Like, I love finding out how they're made, and I love researching them, and I love Easter eggs, and I love knowing the behind the scenes stuff, and I love being the asshole who can, in the middle of a movie, go, you know how they filmed that scene? Or, hey, a little known fact on this is, did you know that that was a joke and it was referencing the 1927 movie? That, you know, nobody listens past, did you guys know? But I still keep talking. Yeah, that's my hobby. Oh, this again. We get this question a few times. All right, why do you do paper cut tests? Don't you know it can dull the blade? All right, dudes, dudettes. Check it, yo. Yo, snap, yo, check it out, yo. Yes, that just happened. Anything you cut with a knife can dull your blade. I know that. Anything you cut is going to dull your blade. And I try to say this often when we're doing the tests, right? The reason I do paper cut tests, the reason lots of people do paper cut tests is because it is a quick and simple visual to illustrate the fit and finish, the quality that comes out of the factory. That's all. It's not a measure of the blade quality. It's not a measure of how well the knife is put together. It's not a measure of anything besides how well finished does that knife ship out of the factory. Even if the knife comes blunt as a bowling ball, with the right skills and the right tools, we can put a razor sharp edge on that with enough time and work, right? Even if a knife comes with a super razor sharp edge, it can still be a giant piece of shit. But when we do the paper test, it is simply illustrating this is how the knife shipped out of the factory. And typically, this is not a 100%, it's not even an 80%, it is just a sort of rule of thumb. A knife that is finished well usually is made well. It usually has some quality features. It's not all-encompassing, it is not a forever statement. It's just something to look at, you know? How well does this company care about their presentation of their product? That's all. That's the only reason I do it. Just to get a sense of what does this company send out of the factory to you. They could send you a knife made out of Fabergé eggs and dinosaur bone and a blade made of diamonds that is completely blunt, that is worth $1 million. It doesn't change the value of the knife. It just lets us know this is how much they cared about sending you a usable product out of the box. That's it. It's the only thing. That's it. Hi Doc, I found your channel 3 or 4 months ago and I have been hooked ever since. I am 13, from Romania, and I got into knives 2 years ago. Interesting fact, one of my first teenage crushes was Romanian, Paulina Poroskova. My parents think I'm kind of weird for fucking around with knives, but I wanted to ask you, when did you get into knives and what was your first knife? So I kind of sort of answered this one in a video. I'm going to put a link for you in the video description about how I got into knife collecting and making a YouTube channel, because I sort of kind of answered it, but this is a more specific question. So when did I get into knives? I've always grown up with knives. Like, I've always grown up, my dad taking me from a very young age, camping and, you know, I don't want to say bushcrafting, because he was more into teaching me how to make booby traps and how to ambush a squad in the park than, like, you know, survival at first. But I've been using knives and, you know, learning the basic rules and learning how to be safe with them, carrying around since I was, like, really, really young. My very first knife I remember was, the first knife I bought for myself was a Benchmade. It was a Benchmade Reptilian. The first knife that was ever given to me, though, it was a buck. It was your standard, like, it was a 110 type, you know. I don't know if it was an actual model 110 or what it was, but it was one of those, you know, wood in the middle, brass fittings on the end, with a nail nick in it. And I think that's the way so many people start, you know, collecting knives and everything, with a good old buck knife. I can't remember exactly what it was. I didn't really get into knives, though, until I was an adult, though. I didn't really understand that there was a difference between a crap knife and a good knife until much, much later. And if you check out that other video, the one that the link is in the description, that'll walk you through that whole thing. I just don't want to go through the whole thing now, because it's a long story. But it's a good question. Thanks. All right, we only got 2 more questions to go. Hi Doc, what is the craziest non-practical knife you own? As a following question, why did you get it? Well, guys, gonna have to hold on while I get something. Alright, so in my opinion, the craziest, least practical knife I own is the Quartermaster Knives Hannibal. So I have a video, it's kind of old, where I do the actual unboxing and initial review of this knife. I'll put a link in the video description so you can check that out. I have no earthly explanation for why this knife was ever made, for what purpose, why it was designed, how it was designed, why it looks kind of like a penis, what they were smoking when they came up with this design, or why I have it. I think in the video I said it looked kind of crazy, so I figured I'd get it. Material-wise, it's made out of good materials. It's not a cheap knife, not at all. It's in your $150 range, you know, somewhere between $150 and $200. Now, there's a lot of controversy about the brand Quartermaster that I would learn later, but it's a hell of a knife. I mean, it's a big, heavy thing. I never carry it. I never use it. It's a collection queen. It sits in the collection. It has come out of the collection to move and for this video. It is one of those things. It's a liner lock. It's a tiny liner lock for such a big, beefy blade, too. But I have it. It's crazy. It looks like a giant pterodactyl's claw, you know? But this is it, in my opinion. The least practical, like, what are you going to do with this thing? Like, in any kind of practical sense. The blade design itself is just nuts. But there you go. And most Hannibal knives, well, the older ones, I think maybe the newer ones are a little bit toned down, but they're crazy. They are crazy. Check out that cat's butt. They are just crazy. All right, guys, this is the last question. Oh, man, this one is heavy. So, is it true that guys from combat don't like to talk about it at all? Do you like to talk about it? Do you talk about it with each other? I'm assuming guys from combat. Are you asked about it a lot? Can you tell a quick story of one of the craziest or funniest or weirdest or most exciting things on a deployment that isn't a combat story? Thanks. So let's break that story down into little pieces. Is it true that guys from combat don't like to talk about it at all? Everybody's different. I mean, everybody is different. Some people talk about it, some people don't. You know, you put 10 combat vets in a room and you get 10 different answers or stories. Sam's going to join me because guess what? Not every combat vet is a guy. Some combat vets have blonde and blue hair and big boobs.
I like to say it's Prism.
Prism?
Right now.
Your hair
like
is prism? Prison?
Prism.
Prism? It depends on the person. It depends on their experiences, how much they like to talk about it or how much they don't like to talk about it. I kind of feel like those guys who talk the most about actual combat probably have the least actual combat experience. That's my take on it. I don't enjoy talking about what, you know, we sometimes refer to as the two-way shooting range. There's a difference between being deployed and being in combat. Now, I'll tell deployment stories all day long, but actually combat stories, like anybody who, just my opinion again, who just like with a chuckle says, so this one day I was shooting this dude, it's like, bullshit. No, that's not just an easy story to tell. But what do you want to say?
I guess, like for me, I love to share my deployment stories. Like, they make me really happy. There's some that are more fucked up than others. And, does, like, combat count as, like, being attacked? Or is it, like, man-on-man combat?
That's what I'm talking about.
You know
like, you
what I
put
mean?
10 dudes in a room and get 10 different answers. Like, you know.
Because I could say, like, I was in combat because I was shot at with mortars all the time, and because they didn't have fireworks, they would shoot off tracer rounds when they won soccer games. And legitimately, people got hit.
You know what Sam has that most of you guys don't have? She has a gold combat action border around one of her deployment ribbons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, my favorite story, I'm going to tell my favorite story.
Okay, you tell your story.
And it's just about me personally. So, the first month that you get there, when you get downrange, especially for our squadron, was you don't get a day off for the first, like, full month. You're working 12-hour shifts, but those 12 hours you have to be there an hour early to be in a briefing that starts half an hour before that, or no, that starts at an hour before, and then you have to go on scope and replace that other person and do a handover for another half an hour. And you gotta do that both ways.
You should tell them what your job is, what you're talking about.
Like, I want to say EPT, but
They don't know what that is. To them, an EPT is a pregnancy test. Like, imagine a little green box that's not bulletproof, by the way, connected to a mobile combat radar that's dropped off in the middle of Indian territory.
on the back of a 5-ton.
On the back of a 5-ton truck, so that some big boss somewhere 1,000 miles away in a bunker underground can see what's going on and say, oh, now I can make my decision. That's what she does. That's what she did. She ran the radar thing.
Yeah, I was like all about the radar. And so yeah, you get that full month of no days off, and then finally you'll get like maybe a half day or a full day off. So it was my first day off. I hadn't shaved my legs since I got there. So the night before my day off, I stayed up till midnight so I could get hot water, because nobody was in the shower at that point. And I started to shave my legs. And I was really, really happy. And then the alarm went off. And we'd been there for a month. And those bathrooms are really gross. So I wasn't about to lay on the floor. I had one leg done, the other leg was soapy. And I wasn't getting down, so I was like, alright, today's the day I die naked in the shower. I'm gonna have a really nice leg. Oh well. And we got lucky and it hit the bathroom next to us, but yeah, you can, like, I legitimately thought I was gonna die.
Might as well die with clean shaven legs.
You know, at least one good leg and soft hair. I was able to condition my hair.
Yeah.
And that's just like a me story. Yeah.
Everybody had, like, that's the thing, like, there's so many different stories. So my job's a bit different. My job is actually, so she's doing her radar thing, and I've got to, depending on the situation, you know, and both of us, we could be in a nice, safe, like, rear area command center, which is awesome when we can deploy that way. It's not even being deployed. It's like a fancy temporary
vacation.
Yeah, or like deployed to literally a hole in the ground with a rifle in one hand and a radio headset in the other, and looking up in the sky going, Viper 2-1, are you over my head right now? Okay, don't drop a bomb on me. Your target's that way. So it's all sorts of stuff. So I guess one of my favorite deployment memories, you know, non-combat related, was in 2012. I guess maybe you remember, all of a sudden, God, there's so much stuff that went on in that deployment. The president made an unexpected, you know, nobody told us he was going to be there, stop in Afghanistan to make a speech in Bagram. So the way it worked was, you know, our job is, we control, the air traffic control is given space around the airfield, that's theirs. We have the entire rest of the country that we're responsible for. So whether we're calling in strikes or, you know, vectoring fighters to intercept stuff, or just, you know, checking guys in and keeping them from smashing into each other as they're doing missions to follow convoys or close air support, or actually vectoring them in to, like, strike targets and stuff, we're responsible for everything that's flying. And by the way, hoping the bad guys aren't shooting at us and reacting to enemy fire and all this other stuff at the same time. So I was not aware, because I was on a rest period, and, you know, there's mandatory, you know, you have to get a certain amount of rest before, and we break those rules all the time anyway. So I'm not aware that the president's giving a speech in Bagram at that time, and I just go and I swap out with the guy ahead of me who fails to tell me that, you know, anything special is going on, only that there's a lot of activity over Bagram. I'm like, shit, yeah, there is. We got like 8 F-16s flying in orbits. We got 4 A-10s. We got a bunch of what we call light fixed wings, little propeller planes with like cameras looking down. We got a bunch of armed drones. We've got like Army helicopters everywhere. Like, dude, did they get attacked? What's going on? He's like, I don't know, man. There's a bunch of guys over Bagram. Fantastic. So you play Tetris and you stack them and you move them around. You just don't let them, like, hit each other, you know. So all of a sudden, in the midst of this, for no adequately explained reason, the aircraft part and these 3 C-5 Galaxies climb out of Bagram. And I'm you know, to preserve security, I'm going to use fake call signs, but I'll just say they were you know, Zoom 123. So they've got it. They climb out of the airspace, out of the airfield airspace, which is really small. They check in with me and they say, I don't know, Zebra, pretend that was my call sign. Zebra, Zoom 123, checking in with you, passing 16,000, you know, going to this checkpoint, blah, blah, blah. Looking for this checkpoint en route to here. Fancy, fancy talk. And now I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, in the middle of all this shooting and all of this, we've got guys getting close air support. I got these 3 stupid cargo planes that want to get from here to here. Awesome! So I, you know, go to my little grease board and I figure out where everybody is and I'm like, all right, Zoom 123, I hope you got a pencil on you because this is good. Okay. Zoom 123, you're cleared to, you know, you're approved to continue your climb to 18,000. Once there, hold level 18,000, pick up a heading of 090. Once heading 090, climb to 21,000, then, you know, left to 270, blah, blah, all this stuff. Call when you're level at this altitude on this heading, and so basically I'm doing all this, getting around all that. Zoom 123 is level at, you know, 250, heading whatever, and I'm like, phew, okay, great. Now I can finally get rid of them. Zoom 123, you're approved, climb 29.5, contact Kabul for hire. You're approved direct to whatever navigation point they want. Calling good two-way with Kabul, have a nice night. And out of nowhere, Zoom 123, copy approved elevator 295, contacting Kabul, will call you with good two-way. Zebra, the men and women of Air Force One, thank you for a lovely stay in country. You guys stay safe on the ground. We'll see you next time. And I'm like, ugh. And then I noticed it's a 3-plane procession, just like they do. NSA does not like me telling this story right now. Or the Upside Down is coming and there's a Demogorgon about to kill us. But there's a 3-train procession of C5 Galaxies, except only one of them is C5, carrying all of the president's limos and all that stuff. The plane in the middle is Air Force One, and that's the one I'm actually talking to. And that was actually pretty cool. So I got to check Air Force One out of Afghanistan one night. And, you know, of course they don't tell you that for security. And he should never have said that on an unsecure radio. So it was really cool. And it was one of those things where everybody turns around and looks at each other like, that just fucking happened? Dude, that just happened. What are you gonna do? Correct the colonel flying Air Force One? Like, dude, you should not say that on a clear radio frequency. He's already at 29,000 feet and he's out of my airspace talking to civilian ATC. But it was really cool. That's one of the most exciting deployment non-combat related stories. And I think, you know what, it's probably even more exciting for that dude because he knew everybody just got like a giant boner for talking to Air Force One. So anyway, if you guys want to hear more deployment stories, let me know. I don't enjoy particularly talking about like actual combat, like warheads on foreheads. That's not so much fun for me because there's a lot of nasty stuff. The business of waging wars is not nice. And I'll tell you though, we have gone to great lengths. We have put ourselves in tremendous danger to avoid dropping live ordnance on anybody. Like, very rarely do we escalate from nothing to killing people. Like, we go through so many steps, or we did when I was there. We went through so many steps to try not to kill them. And anytime we actually went kinetic, it was because they really left us no other choice. And like, dude, we gave you 5 chances to get the fuck out of here before we actually had to kill you. Anyway, so that's the last question. So there we go. That wraps up Q&A Edition 3, Volume 3. I should put out DVD sets. So thanks, guys, for sending in your questions. If you guys have questions for next time, here's the email address. It's questionsfordocp@gmail.com. You can send them there. Your video ideas and video requests, docp96@gmail.com. Nothing's going to show up there because you don't edit anything and I do. Empty space. Thanks, guys, for watching. These videos are fun for me because, you know, it's a chance to address the stuff that you guys asked for specifically. And look, Sam played too.
A little bit.
A little bit. So anyway, I'm gonna paint little tanks and stuff.
Go to bed.
Go to bed. Quitter. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. You're all awesome. Thanks for the questions, and I'll be back again real soon.